Alright, another boatload of new releases on their way. Some of these might have already dropped. I haven't gotten my noses on most of these except for maybe one. But I'm going to let you know about some new fragrances that are soon to launch. If you're curious to find out what they are, then of course stick around. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, we've got another boatload of new releases coming soon. Designers, niche. Let me know if you are excited about anything that's soon to launch. And of course, let me know if you've sampled these fragrances already. Put a comment down so I can find out. If you have any information about some stuff that's not necessarily publicized that you think you know about, also do let me know. Put a comment down. But let's go ahead and get started. These have already launched, I believe, 2 fragrances from Guerlain from the L'Homme Idéal collection. I never got to see these in France, and some of you already have them, so I don't know how you were able to buy them, but as soon as I get my hands on these, I will report back on them as well. The first one is PLATINE PRIVE. This is not the one I'm excited about. I'm excited about the second one I'm going to tell you about. But PLATINE PRIVE from the L'Homme Idéal collection features notes of grapefruit, green almonds, Haitian vetiver, pink pepper. So in this case, they're taking the almonds, which is traditional in L'Homme Idéal series, and making them into green almonds. So has anybody got their nose on this one? Do let me know what you think about it. Do you like it? Do you enjoy it? And out of the collection, which is your favorite? But the second one is ROUGE PRIVE, and it features notes of leather, bergamot, vanilla, and patchouli. This one actually sounds even better to me. It sounds stronger, more intense, more concentrated with the type of notes they're using. And of course, it's got vanilla, patchouli, along with leather and bergamot. So let's see how this one is. Let me know which one your favorite is. I like the EDP and I like the Extreme. I don't care for the intense as much. I feel like it's not as cool. The cologne was a really good one, which they killed and axed really quickly. And then of course the cool was also fun with that kind of mintiness. The original is the original. I'm fine with it, but I feel like for me, the Extreme and the EDP are doing it right now, and then the Cool and the Cologne were great, but they're discontinued. So let's move on to the house of HOUBIGANT. This is PIVOINE, SOUVERAINE. Are you familiar with this house, and are you curious about this particular fragrance? This is in the collection that includes their Fleur d'Oranger and also their iris. They're really amazing iris, and there's a few other fragrances in the collection. I can't think of them, but I do own the iris and the Fleur d'Oranger. And this one is PIVOINE SOUVERAINE. It's a peony fragrance. PIVOINE is a peony focused fragrance, and according to the notes, it's a Celine Elena created fragrance, and I believe she's the daughter of Jean-Claude Elena, who I got to meet, by the way. I posted a photo with him during Exxon's, PIVOINE SOUVERAINE features notes of musk, peony, rose, jasmine, clementine, Elemi, resin, pink pepper, sandalwood, and tea. Very interesting combination of notes. But PIVOINE, peony is always, anytime I see peony in fragrances, there's always rose next to it. Because I feel like peony has a rosiness, so I feel like it kind of accentuates the rosiness. They add it together, perhaps, or maybe because peony has rosiness in it, they're adding the rose to accentuate its rosiness that it creates. But it's very fresh, I think, the flower peony. So we'll check it out. But most likely this is definitely kind of leaning on the feminine side, this particular fragrance. But if you are curious about it, let me know what you think about it, and does it excite you to check this one out. But I also feel like there's too many peony-focused fragrances out there, don't you think? Do you have a favorite one? Put a comment down, let me know what it is. So this is a house that doesn't get much hype. It's an Italian house mostly known for their fragrance Muschio Bianco, which I absolutely love and I wear once in a while when I want something clean and musky, white musk basically. This is a fragrance called LIBOCEDRO a Salvia. Very Italian, and I'm curious to smell it. I did not get a chance to stop at their booth during Exxon's. I know they were there, and sadly I didn't, but I'm curious to smell it now that it's you know, this essence is coming on. This particular fragrance features notes of bergamot, cardamom, cedarwood, cloves, musk, rose, and sage. So aromatic, spicy, musky, woody. Of course, it sounds really great. I'd like to definitely check it out, but do let me know if you're a fan of this house. It doesn't get much hype, but a lot of people do know Muschio Bianco, so perhaps if you know the house, you probably know that fragrance, and that's probably their fragrance that's the most popular. But either way, let me know. But moving on to Ralph Lauren, last year they launched Polo Earth, which I felt like was a great you know, neroli orange blossom kind of fragrance, kind of reminiscent of something like Mugler Cologne. Now that Mugler Cologne is discontinued, that would be a great alternative for you, Polo Earth. But now they're launching 3 more Polo Earth series fragrances. All of them are unisex, obviously, just like Mugler Cologne. Polo Earth is unisex, and they've got 3 more. First of which is Provençal Sage. So it's sage, rosemary, Provençal and French lavender, basil, bergamot, green mandarin, neroli, petitgrain, geranium, sandalwood, and vetiver. There's a lot of stuff going on in these fragrances, but the fragrance, the original Polo Earth, was not very complex. So it was very fresh, kind of neroli and also orange blossom kind of together to give you that kind of like cologne, something like neroli Portofino or Mugler Cologne style fragrance. So these seem a little more complex to me. The next one is Antilles Vetiver. We've got a vetiver focused fragrance. Of course, the sage focused fragrance was Provençal Sage, and the Antilles Vetiver features vetiver, cedar, bourbon vanilla, lavender, red spider lily, sage, ylang ylang, bergamot, green mandarin, neroli. Very interesting notes. I like vetiver fragrances, and this one seems like a floral take on a vetiver fragrance, which vetiver to me generally smells on the masculine side. Floral fragrances obviously to me, you know, lean feminine, but I feel like it's a nice balance of masculine and feminine notes for this particular fragrance. So definitely curious to try it. And also I noticed that the notes, reading the notes in this particular these 3 fragrances, there are some overlapping notes from one to the other. So maybe they're using similar notes, but accentuating it with their kind of prominent notes. What the names are, of course, the sage, the vetiver, and then the other one. And then finally, the third one, or the other one, is Moroccan Neroli. Now let's see how different or similar this is going to be to the original Polo Earth. This one seems a lot more complex. As I said, all 3 of these fragrances seem you know, more complex than the original, and this one seems to have notes of neroli, lavender, sage, cistus, grapefruit, bergamot, green mandarin once again, blackcurrant bud, ambrette, bourbon vanilla, cedar, moss, vetiver. A lot of stuff. They've mentioned a lot of notes, which is kind of cool. I'm curious to find out who's creating these fragrances for them. I can't remember if they publicized the name of the perfumer of the original Polo Earth, which I quite liked. I thought it was a great release. Not breaking any new ground with that release, but I felt like it's a great release, and the fact that Ralph Lauren has a Polo fragrance that's unisex, which is kind of cool. So all 3 of these fragrances will be unisex as well. But moving on to the house of Brioni, they have a new flanker to their Eau de Parfum or EDP collection of fragrances, and this one is Essential, Eau de Parfum Essential from Brioni. Most likely it's Michel Almerac once again, we shall see, but it's bergamot essential oil, cardamom essential oil, tomato leaf, patchouli essential oil, tonka bean, frankincense, sandalwood. Very interesting to throw in tomato leaf. I like this note. It doesn't come up too often. When it comes up, it goes bitter, it goes green, it goes herbal, it goes aromatic, and of course spicy as well. So you got to use it in tiny amounts of dosages, otherwise it'll totally stand out. It's so different. To me, sometimes it reminds me of herbs, aromatics, sometimes cannabis and things like that, because there's a bitterness, and maybe sometimes a little bit of galbanum as well. But I really like this line from Brioni, even the 3rd launch in the line, so I'm really, really looking forward to this Essential as well. I think they're doing a pretty good job. Not breaking any new ground with these fragrances, but definitely solid, very wearable fragrances. Most of them are created by Michel Almerac. I mean, they're all created by Michel Almerac, except this one I don't know. But the second flanker was created with a co-perfumer. I think it was Karen Vinchon Spinner. But yeah, let me know if you're enjoying the Brioni EDP series of fragrances. Are you a fan? Put a comment down so I can find out. So here's another house that doesn't get much love or hype. It's Heeley Cologne. Heeley is the brand. It's James Heeley, the perfumer. Heeley is the name of the brand. And it's Cologne Officiel Officinal. I think that's how you say it. Always curious to see what they sell, but sadly, I can't find the fragrances here in the States anymore. They used to be at Barney's when Barney's was around, and Barney's closed in 2020, just before the pandemic started, and nowhere to be found. I have to order everything online. When I go to France, Paris, I buy them from Jovoy, or sometimes I order them from Jovoy. But really, I enjoy this house a lot. But sadly, they're not, selling in the States. But this particular fragrance does sound interesting. Cologne Officinal, amber, basil, dry woods, French soap, galbanum, lavender, oak moss, rosemary, sage. So it seems like it's going to be a light fragrance, especially if it's called Cologne Officinal. I'm curious to smell it. I like the idea of galbanum with French soap. What does French soap smell like? Although I've smelled some really, really great smelling French soap, so definitely this fragrance sounds great. Do let me know if you're a fan of Heeley. I'd like to find out. But moving on to the house of Penhaligon's. Penhaligon's has a new fragrance called Solaris. And once again, Penhaligon's was at Saks here. Then they stopped. Originally, I think it was at also at Barney's. And then they opened up their store here, and then they closed the store. And they've kind of disappeared, so everything has to go through mail order, which is kind of a bummer. So, but I'm always interested in Penhaligon's. It was one of my very, very first niche houses that I dug into in the late 90s. I first discovered them at Saks. But it's blackcurrant, neroli, lemon oil, Ylang Ylang, jasmine, tiar flower, cedarwood, sandalwood, vanilla. Let me know your thoughts on this. How does it sound to you? And do you have a favorite Penhaligon's fragrance? I'd like to find out what it is. Babylon has been one of my favorites as of late. Really love that vanilla. And so hopefully this will be great as well. But then there's a Gucci fragrance called Where My Heart Beats. From their Alchemist Garden collection. Are you a fan of this collection? They're so-so. Some of their fragrances are really good. I really love it. And some of them are okay. This one, it's once again peony with violet leaves and white musk. So it seems like it's fresh and floral and ozonic and, of course, watery. Violet leaves creates this ozonic touch. So I don't know how this one's going to be. The last couple of them were kind of a bit boring to me. And yeah, we'll see how it is. I'm curious to smell it, but let me know your thoughts if you're a fan of this series and which ones are your favorites from this series. Moving on to a fragrance from the Body Shop called Blue Musk Zest. Are you familiar with this one? So I haven't spoken about the Body Shop fragrances in a long time, and this one kind of caught my eye and attention, and I'm curious to smell it because I do enjoy some of their fragrances, but the problem is some of them do get discontinued quite fast and disappear really quickly. But of course they still have White Musk for Men, which I feel like is one of the best cheapies. It doesn't last a long time, but it's also not that expensive. Sometimes I can buy that. Well, now I don't know if the prices are similar, but in the past I was able to buy that fragrance for 14 bucks on sale. So 100 ml, 14 bucks, liberally spray it, it's all cool. But this Blue Musk Zest has notes of sweet orange, grapefruit, musk, lemongrass, geranium, and lemons. Sounds fresh, sounds fun, sounds inexpensive, and could be just a quick dumb reach kind of a fragrance that kind of smells good. So we'll see. I'll go ahead and smell it. Let me know if you're a fan of the Body Shop fragrances and which one is your favorite. And finally, we're going to go to the house of Jovoy until I get to Moncler, which just launched a collection of fragrances, unisex fragrances, which, they're higher end kind of exclusive fragrances. But Jovoy launched a fragrance called Musk Palace. I knew about this fragrance last year. Finally, it's making its way out. Created by Vanina Maracchiole, which I admire her fragrances. I enjoy her fragrances for Jeroboam. And she's got a few fragrances for Jovoy as well, including Incident Diplomatique. But this is nothing like Incident Diplomatique. This is a very soft musk, a very kind of a skin scent kind of a fragrance. It features notes of musk, ambrette, iris, peach, muscanone, tonka, and bergamot. For me, this seems like a personal fragrance. I have to test it, but I smelled it during Exons and I felt like it was very close. It could be that I was also kind of overwhelmed with other smells, so it might have not really stood out. But we'll test it out and see. But a really big fan of Jovoy, and I'm definitely looking forward to this one because I also really love musk fragrances. And then finally, Moncler. Are you a fan of Moncler's fragrances? They've got two fragrances, one for women, one for men. And now they're launching a collection called Les Sommets Moncler. I think that's what it is. Les Sommets Moncler. Very French names. First one is Haute Montagne. It's got a longer name, but I'm basically going to say the Haute Montaigne. It's coriander, cedarwood, Madagascar vanilla, white musk, woody moss. So they come in really beautiful bottles, I have to say, and they're kind of 100 ml or a 200 ml bottle. So these are their kind of like higher end collection of fragrances, which I feel like they decided to launch after they've launched only two fragrances, one for men and one for women. So I like the idea of this one. We'll check it out. There's Le Roche Noir, I think that's how you say it, Le Roche Noir, and this one features notes of lemons, black pepper, geranium, labdanum, patchouli, tonka beans. You know, fragrances, are they getting boring? Is there just too much launching lately? For brands to launch so many fragrances at once, it's kind of overwhelming, but they're launching a collection, so I guess they have to do that. But does any of these, I mean, do any of these sound exciting to you to try? Are you a fan of Moncler? Do you wear their outerwear and the clothing now? They have clothing and everything. I like their, you know, outerwear. Very, very expensive though. But I'm always curious to try these fragrances. We'll see if, you know, who's going to get them here in the city. We do have a Moncler boutique, of course, but I don't know who will sell these fragrances. And of course, three more in the same collection from Moncler. We've got Le Solstice, which features notes of iris, violet, sandalwood, and white musk. And then we've got Le Bois Glacé, I think that's what it is. And we've got Calabrian bergamot, pink pepper, Haitian vetiver, and then finally La Corday, and we've got bergamot, geranium, black tea, and cypress. Very interesting. We'll see how great they are. I felt like I didn't see the price. I don't remember the prices. It either was a little pricey or not pricey, and I'm not remembering how they are because they're not launched here in the States yet, and I was looking at a European website, and I could have sworn they were like 200 for a 200 ml or 300 for a 200 ml, and I'm speaking in euros. But again, I'll keep you guys posted as soon as I get my nose on these, if they launch here in the States. And if they don't, and if there's no hype around them, sometimes I skip fragrances. But either way, those are all the fragrances I'm talking about today. Let me know your thoughts on all these fragrances. Are you excited for these? And if there's something else that's coming out that I did not discuss here today, put a comment down so I can find out and look into it. But either way, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.